Alright guys, how's it going? This is n8great321 with a review of the Lost Vikings for the Super Nintendo. It came out in 1992, developed by Silicone and Synapse, which is now known as Blizzard Entertainment, and it was published by Interplay. So basically, Lost Vikings could be described as a platforming puzzle game. The basic gameplay premise revolves around using each one of the three characters and their unique abilities in order to solve environmental puzzles and to make it to the end of the level. So yeah, there's three characters you can play as in Lost Vikings. The red-haired guy, the first guy you saw, his name's Eric the Swift, and he's the only character out of him that can jump. And the guy with the sword and the bow and arrow, that's Balog the Fierce, and he's the offensive character. He has that close range and long range attack. And the fat guy is Olaf the Stout, and he's the defensive character. His shield blocks projectiles and enemies, so you can see that they all kind of depend on each other to get through the levels and the puzzles. So it's a pretty unique concept, and it works, and it's really cool. So on the top of the screen you can see each character's health and their inventory. Each character can have up to 4 items at a time. And the cool thing is too that you can exchange items between characters. So let's say one character has food, but another different character needs it because he got hit by something and needs to replenish his health. You can pause the game and take items from one character's inventory, give it to the guy that needs it so he can use it. Right there is one example of how you have to use each character's abilities kind of in a unique way. The offensive guy, his arrows can trigger switches and buttons and stuff that are out of reach. I kind of skipped over the storyline at the beginning, but that's just because it's kind of a long intro and it's pretty irrelevant to the gameplay. But basically the three Vikings got abducted by aliens, and they're going to be put in some intergalactic zoo. But obviously the Vikings escaped, and the whole point of the game is to try to get them back home. This game was originally released on the Super Nintendo, but there are other ports of it as well. There's one on the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, there's one on the Amiga CD32, DOS, and also in 2003 Blizzard re-released the game for the Game Boy Advance, and that version is identical to the Super Nintendo version, but instead of using passwords it uses a save feature. And there's also a sequel to this game called Lost Vikings 2 Norse by Northwest, and it was released for the Super Nintendo in 1994 and released for the Saturn, PlayStation, and PC in 1996. Even though this game only had one official sequel, the characters in it have made guest appearances in a couple other games too. The fat guy is a hidden character in the game Rock and Roll Racing, which I know a lot of people like. And actually, this is pretty surprising to me that all three of the characters make a cameo appearance in World of Warcraft. And I don't know exactly how you get to them, what you have to do to find them, but they're in there somewhere. One bad thing I did notice about this game, and I edited it for this review, was that the load times between levels sometimes can get pretty long, especially for a cartridge-based game. But really, all things considered, it's a pretty minor point, but it does get annoying after a while. So there's the red guy's special ability. He can kind of do this charging headbutt, and that can break down walls and barriers and stuff. This game also does have a lot of humor, mostly with the dialogue between the characters. Also, it's pretty cheesy humor, but it's still enjoyable nonetheless. So yeah, right there is the fat guy's special ability. He can turn the shield over his head, so if he goes off a ledge, it slows down his fall, so he uses kind of like a parachute. I really like the music in this game too, it's really catchy. There's another cool thing right there you can do with the shield. If he holds it above his head when he's just standing on the ground, the red-headed guy can jump on it, and it's like an extra platform so he can get up to higher spots. The game has a nice progression of difficulty too, as at the beginning of the game the puzzles are pretty easy and they're just trying to get you acquainted with each character's abilities and how to use them, and then progressively you have to become a little more creative, and the puzzles do get pretty challenging later in the game. There's a lot of levels in this game. I don't know how many exactly, but there's a whole bunch. And they don't get too ridiculously frustrating. Not like controller smashing frustrating, but they will give you headaches every once in a while. But I mean, it's all part of the challenge. It's still overall a really fun, challenging experience. So would I recommend the game? Absolutely. It's a really great, unique puzzle game. It should be enjoyable for any type of gamer, really. This game shouldn't be too hard to find. I found my copy for $5, and if you search around, you should probably find it for about that price. Well, I guess that's it for me, so I hope you enjoyed my review. I'd appreciate it if you let me know what you think, and if you like what you see, I'd encourage you to subscribe. This is n8great321, signing out.